Hey everyone, this is your host Brian, and welcome to episode 11. Today's topic, Jeppson's Malort. I took a small shot of it last night, and my toothbrush still tasted like death this morning. Please send help. Find out about all that and more on this week's episode of the Pause Button Podcast. Can you help me?
What?
It still tastes like Malort.
Dude, just deal with it. I also chugged from the bottle.
Oh, you went from the bottle?
Yeah.
Savage over here.
Wait, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I watched you do it. What?
Look, when you take Malort, you don't have memories of like what you did. You just have memories of taste. It's not like I got drunk and like forgot what I did last night. It's just that the taste is so strong, it just blocks out your other senses of sight and touch and hearing and feeling.
All right, bud. All right.
So
little baby.
Is your toothbrush that tastes like Malort still?
Yeah, no, when I went to brush my teeth last night, it was terrible. I was like, why is it still, it was like an hour ago I tasted it. And it was a small little like sip, like, oh, okay, I'm good. And then I woke up, 6-7 hours later, brushed my teeth, and I'm like, why is this, oh no, like I need a new toothbrush now.
I don't know about all that. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know, man. Never again. I'm going to say that, but. So it's the holiday season, as you know. That's the last episode of the Pauscars. We made it.
Yeah, we survived. I barely survived after not being able to make it for the music episode, but hey.
Yeah, he's alive now, everybody. It's okay.
That was my first miss. I think I get at least one.
Well, this person that is alive is the Sunshine Kid, or boy or kid. I always
don't
forget.
remember.
The Sunshine
I think
Boy
I'm the
Kid.
Sunshine Boy.
Sunshine boy.
So he's back. That's Pat over there. We got Devante here, the retro guy, and then I'm Brian, and Joey and Tom are dead to me. So
they're we don't know what happened to Joey, and Tom has to be there for his nephew's birthday. So
what would be really funny is if this whole time it's just like, oh man, like they're not here, and then we find out that like Joey had like a heart attack or something. The young age of 26, and it's actually serious, and then...
Would that be funny, though?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's ironic.
I don't think that's what irony means.
All right, so welcome to the Pause Button Podcast. Every other week, your three favorite hosts, Pat, Devante, and me, are now your three favorite. We'll discuss a pop culture topic usually related to movies, music, shows, or video games, and we'll do our darndest to entertain you along the way. You can expect surprising facts, funny jokes, deeply depressing monologues, and of course, unrelated witty banter. So sit down, shut up, and open up your ears. It's time to hit pause. Yeah. So, obviously, the Pauscars was leading up to the movies, hence the title. But before we get into the categories and all that, I figured we'd talk about holiday movies, because it's the holiday season, Santa's back.
Oh, wow. What a magical sound effect that was.
Oh, Santa's not here.
No Santa.
Santa's nephew had a birthday party.
Oof.
Oh, man.
All right, so holiday movies is what we're going to talk about. What are the best? What are the worst? What do you guys got for me?
My favorite is easily Jon Favreau's Elf.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Will Ferrell. Just incredibly wholesome movie. Will Ferrell's performance is hysterical in it. Zooey Deschanel is a super likable love interest. Just love everything about it.
I love that, like, we talked about last week, kind of like with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, where, like, Christmas for some reason has this ability to time travel, where we as a culture hate old things. Everything has to be new and exciting and shiny and brand new, but for some reason Christmas time we listen to Dean Martin and, like, Frank Sinatra and all them. And then also, for movies, like, there's, like, Miracle on 34th Street, and It's a Wonderful Life, Black and White, like...
Home Alone.
Yeah, and all these old... And Elf, I feel like, was a movie that came out, like, later, but, like, it still cemented itself in holiday tradition. It's just a Christmas tradition at this point.
Absolutely.
I can agree to that.
What about you, Devante?
So my favorite actually is going to be another old movie, Charlie Brown's Christmas. I really like the Charlie Brown movies during the holidays.
Thank you for shouting that one out.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that one too much. To be honest.
You suck.
Yeah,
I know
you
the
gotta
theme
go.
song and the
great
singing at Christmas time is
Great
here and all that.
soundtrack.
Yeah, great
that one.
soundtrack. That started the small trees that are barely have any like.
Yeah,
leaves or
yeah,
anything on it,
yeah,
so-
I
It
like
is.
that.
It is a classic. My family has a nativity of it's like everyone in the manger, but it's all the Charlie Brown characters like they were in the
that's
play.
awesome.
So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites too.
I want to say my favorite is Christmas Vacation, the National Lampoon's one and all that, with Chevy Chase, which I really like. But there's a movie that I used to watch a lot as a kid and I haven't seen since then, and I just feel like I would love it in an endearing, stupid way, and that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way. Do you guys know that one?
No.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Oh my god, it's I have vague memories of it. I remember there was like a postal bomb joke in it, and he's dressed up as like a superhero with a jetpack in the like parade at the end, and there's like I don't know. It's just I need to see that movie again.
Also, shout out to Home Alone.
Yeah, you gotta
what
like
a
Home Alone.
classic. Joe Pesci, the others, Macaulay Culkin.
Being the kid-friendly version of Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
You know what movie I can't stand? The holiday movie I don't like?
What?
A Christmas Story.
Christmas Story's fine.
I think it's just okay.
It doesn't deserve 2 channels playing it 24 hours straight on Christmas Day.
No, it's not that great.
That's
No,
disgusting.
no.
Get that out. Put on Elf that long? Fine. I'd love that. That's fine.
Would you say that kid's which role by that kid do you think is better? His Christmas Story one or his role in Iron Man?
Who is he in Iron Man?
I'm not Tony Stark, sir.
That's him?
Yeah, the one who gets yelled at for not being able to build stuff like Tony Stark did in a cave with a box of scraps.
Oh, easily that guy. Come on. Like, what other person has played a role in 2008 and then 11 years later played the same role? Come on. Like, I don't see Ralphie showing up 11 years later. Like, I don't give a shit what he's doing 11 years later. But the box of scraps guy, what he's doing, huh? What's up with him? Yeah. All right. So it is time for the Pauscars. So that was
All right.
beautiful. That was beautiful.
Huh.
If we edit that out, I'm okay with it. So that we're recording a little bit early, and there's a few things that you would want to wake up to on a Sunday morning a little bit early. And a trumpet isn't them. So I didn't warm up, as you could tell, but that was the mouthpiece, and it sounded like a kazoo farting. So
I'm honestly a bigger fan of the kazoo sound.
I
Like,
have a
that was
kazoo at
good.
home. I should have brought it.
I mean, that worked just as well.
I'm okay with it. I think it fits us being like a knockoff of the Oscars. So like,
They have a full orchestra. We have Ryan's terrible buzzing on
there
a
you go.
mouthpiece. Quates out. All right, so it's the Pauscars where we talk about the movies. Let's start off with the best movie of 2019.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yeah. It's a stacked year, so there's a lot of options here.
There's a lot of great movies in 2019. I was a little tempted to go with Avengers Endgame, which was probably like my favorite movie for just that's having a ton of fun. But I'm going to put one out there that might surprise you, Brian.
Is it Avengers Endgame?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
I really like that movie. I love the performances. The movie felt a little empty at times. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, but I absolutely adored the tone and the performances of the film. And once I kind of realized what the film was actually going for, I was in for it all the way. Really had so much fun with that movie.
Yeah, I definitely hear you with the didn't really know what to expect, but then by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get you.
I mean, Quentin Tarantino just kind of knocks it out of the park every time.
Yeah.
Even his not as good movies are pretty damn great pieces
You
of
still
cinema.
enjoy them, yeah.
Really hope he gets to make that R-rated Star Trek.
Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Really? Is it tied to the ones that Abrams was doing?
I don't think so, but there's some rumors that because he signed on to do it, but now I think there's some rumors that it might fall through,
Oh.
which I'll be disappointed because just the idea of an R-rated Quentin Tarantino Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
It's not
Sounds
a bad.
pretty sweet.
It's not a bad idea going for the adult market since Star Wars is the other side kind of clamped down at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Devontae, what about you?
So yeah, Midsummer would probably be my top choice for the top movie of 2019. If don't know, I'm really big into horror, kind of like psychological, scary stuff. And this one, I would not really consider a horror movie. It's one that kind of just makes you feel uncomfortable throughout the whole thing. So this movie is basically about a cult and how, groups of friends get tricked into joining this cult and bad shit happens and it makes you feel really uncomfortable.
Wait, bad shit happens in a cult?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I think it's pretty great. So, I mean, even if people aren't really into scary movies, I think this one is one for people to watch.
That's one I've really wanted to watch. It always looked really weird and interesting to me. And it every time I've looked at the genres before it's been listed as thriller and drama as opposed to horror, which based on what you're saying sounds about right.
It's definitely not scary whatsoever.
So, for those of our audience members that don't know, I am terrible with horror movies. Could I sit through this movie?
You might have to turn away at some parts that happen, but you won't be scared. It's more like gore sometimes. But it's tasteful gore, so not like gore for no reason.
What is tasteful gore?
As in like
licking your lips, like getting the knife and fork together.
There's a reason why it's happening instead of just like, oh, I'm gonna cut this dude's head off for no reason.
So
come on,
Saw 4.
You watched some of Walking Dead, Brian. You've seen.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's tasteful gore.
I've always gone back to the scene in Watchmen when they're fighting in the alley and Night Owl breaks that guy's arm backwards and his bone comes out, like where your elbow bends inward.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and it was the first time I was like, wait, why do I like this gore? I think I'm okay with it in violence, but whenever it's like in horror or whenever it's involving
in horror, it's usually still violence, dude.
Well, yeah, but like, I don't know.
Different tones of violence,
different
maybe?
Tone, yeah. And it's the guts, it's the intestine. Like I can't do the Saving Private Ryan or the guy on the beach with his intestines. Like I can't do that.
Oh man, I love those.
Or the guy that's holding his arm, or
holding his arm around.
I ate a really delicious muffin this morning.
I would argue that is tasteful gore.
Yeah.
Definitely, just because it feels so historically
visceral.
No,
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that seems bad. It's amazing, but all right. So my best movie of 2019. You know what's coming. You know it was undoubtedly the best movie that came out this year. It's Jojo Rabbit.
Wait.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
It's Jojo Rabbit. I saw that movie about 2 months after it came out in theaters by myself in a mostly empty theater and was just blown away by everything it did.
Thought it was better than Endgame, huh?
Yeah.
New number one favorite movie of all time then, huh?
Well,
wow.
So it's just the things that this movie did and the way it did them. I love Taika Waititi, the guy who did Thor Ragnarok. Like that was great, and I was like really excited to see what he does next. And this movie, without giving away spoilers, this movie has that perfect humor of his that's just so outlandish but hilarious, and that's my favorite type of humor at this point. He's my favorite comedic director, and when you put that in there, it feels, if you don't know, Jojo Rabbit is about a kid who has an imaginary friend that's Hitler in 1939 in Berlin, in 1945 in Berlin. So he's in like the Hitler Youth Program and all that, and his name's Jojo. But the way this movie just goes about its story and how it takes turns that you didn't expect, and the message behind it and the way it's delivered, it's just so, it's everything I would want from a movie. It's touching and it's funny, and there's just so much to it. I really want to watch it a bunch of other times, but I saw it like the last day it was in theaters, so I don't know. It just hit me. So I could not. I saw it, and on the car ride home I was like, shit, yeah, that I have to put that at number one for the year.
Wow, I'm really surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly.
It does look like a pretty interesting movie, though. I've only seen the trailers, and based off the trailers, I was like, what the heck is going on? But like the way you described it makes me really want to see it.
Yeah, Taika Waititi is a really good director, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and he's also Hitler in it too, and he does a great job acting as Hitler. There's some real good jokes in there. All right, so next we're going to talk about Best Poster of the Decade. We're moving to our decade categories. We got 10 years of movies to think about and discuss. So, Devontae, what was the best poster of the decade?
All right, so this one actually is really hard because most of the time I don't pay attention to the movie posters when I go there. Especially nowadays when you just watch the trailer and you barely pay attention to the posters that are outside the movie theater nowadays.
And a lot of them are real generic.
Yeah.
You got the Disney themed, like, there's all the characters in a box kind of thing. Like,
so mine is actually going to be for Midsummer, the one I chose for 2019.
Oh, wow.
So I'll show you guys. It's basically like the main couple of the movie is in a field of flowers, and you can see a group of people behind like a cross type thing in all white. Mm-hmm. So I chose this one mainly because if it looks innocent, I would say. So it looks like, you might be in, I don't know, Scotland or something, just in the field, and you see people like in, white dresses basically in a field of flowers. So it looks pretty innocent, and it looks like it kind of like embarks what they're going on, because they think they were going on a trip to, I think, somewhere in Europe. I don't remember exactly where, but it has the beauty of all the flowers in the field and like people that are just relaxing and probably doing some sort of dance. So it looks innocent, but it doesn't show that there's a different side to the movie, and I think I like that a lot.
Yeah, I look at this poster and I don't think, oh man, there's gonna be terrible gore in this movie. Like, it almost the way you describe it almost kind of reminds me of the Deadpool billboards that they had for it coming out on Valentine's Day, and it's just like a love story. Like,
yep.
I think I can go next, and Pat, we can have you go after.
Sure.
I have not even seen this movie. But the Joker poster with him just dancing at the top of the stairs, I feel is so iconic.
Yeah, I got a lot of that image has gone around in that clip of
it's
him dancing.
A meme. It's artsy. I haven't even seen the movie, but I feel like it portrays the tone of that movie, and maybe it's because it looks like like a gift that I haven't unwrapped yet. It's still new to me. I still haven't seen the movie, but it just, I don't know. I felt like I had to pick it. I love that image. What do you got, Pat?
So mine is for Us.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I really love the movie poster. For those of you who don't know, it is the image of the actress, the main actress, Lupita Nyong'o. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry for butchering her name. And she's sort of she's holding a mask, but also kind of removing it of her own face, and it looks like hyper realistic. And then she has a single tear going down her face. Because apparently Jordan Peele really likes that imagery of the single tear.
But she's got like the like crazy eyes going on. Like, you can tell.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell like she's going through something horrific. And there's almost that bit of like that insanity feeling to it. Really am just a massive fan of that poster and that movie.
Oh yeah, it's a super good movie. That was my number 3 for the 2019 movies that came out. It's super good.
Awesome. Any thoughts on that, Brian?
I was totally paying attention
to the movie poster for Us.
Yeah, it looks cool. I don't know if I could watch Us. I want to see Get Out. I feel like I could get through Get Out, but I saw
definitely you can get through Get Out. I have no doubts about that.
I saw like a scene or two of Us, and I was like, I don't know, man.
You don't need to be afraid of Get Out when you're white. In all seriousness,
there's nothing to fear.
I'm like, yeah, this is totally fine.
I don't know if I'd watch that movie and say, oh, that's totally fine. I don't think I'm a racist person. But with Us, it just felt like the screeching violins, even in the trailer, just like the like plucks.
Yeah, that sound design. The sounds in that movie scared me more than the actual movie itself.
Oh yeah, the actual movie I wouldn't really consider like scary.
It's sort of unsettling and thrillery.
Yeah.
But the music was like the main thing that occasionally just made me so like,
oh yeah,
stop. Like,
or like it'll build up to something and then nothing happens. Just like, oh, now I'm like tense. It's like, when is it gonna happen?
I just looked up the composer's name, Michael Abels. That guy perfectly like put to sound the idea of like a spider crawling across your face as you're like tied up or something like that.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah,
like it's just like, oh no.
Since we've been talking about music, how about we go to the best score of the decade?
Look at that. That kind of transitioned pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
So mine is actually going to be from the movie Whiplash.
Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, it's like that one's basically about, a drummer who joins a jazz band, and it's nothing but jazz music throughout the whole thing. And it has J.K. Simmons in it, which is pretty amazing. So,
do any of the tracks include him just screaming in the background,
dude,
throwing shit? Like,
I want the track when he throws the chair at the drummer in the middle of rehearsal.
He Bobby Knights it in the rehearsal.
Yes, in the middle of rehearsal. It's great. You really need to see this movie if you haven't, even if like you're not really big into music. But I think it portrays how college music used to be. When it was like
the good old days.
If you're not good, you're gonna get basically beat or harassed by your teacher,
and thank God those days are behind us.
Yes, thank God.
Hopefully,
I think this movie had to be influenced by Buddy Rich because that guy was notorious for just running things like a horrible human being. But man, did he get results!
Yes, I know who that is.
It's just I would love to have an episode and talk about like how far can you push somebody to get artistry, because it's like I feel like I haven't seen that movie, but I feel like that's what it's going for. Is that kind of close?
Yeah, basically.
Like you can get results, but is it worth it? Do the ends justify the means here of like screaming at this college kid, not my tempo, not my tempo? Like
yeah, and it shows how he kind of breaks down the kid too, and he goes through so much to just try to make J.K. Simmons happy. And you can tell that it's starting to get to him, like, physical health and mentally health. Like, it's a pretty great movie, and I would recommend it to anybody.
All right.
I can go next.
Yeah, sure.
So I was stuck between whether I wanted to choose Us for best score or the movie I ended up deciding on, which was Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
John Williams just knocks it out of the park every time, and I really liked sort of the whimsical nature of a lot of The Force Awakens and the darker tone as it moves on. I like Kylo Ren's theme. I like Rey's theme.
I don't know how he did.
Yeah.
Like
he just does it every time. He's
every time.
so experienced.
When like like every director in Hollywood, like when they did the prequels, when they did the sequels, like I'm sure every director was like, "Oh, I'm not touching that. I'm afraid of that. I don't want to mess that up." John Williams is just like, "Oh, you want more Star Wars music? Yeah, sure. I can just do that." Like, it's just in his innate ability.
And it's so people, whenever they've had other people do soundtracks for Star Wars related stuff, they always try to emulate that iconic sound. And he brought it, it had been years since he had done Revenge of the Sith. And for Force Awakens, he came right back in and knocked it out of the park, I thought.
He's not young. Like, he's in his 90s.
No, that man looks like he's going to fall over dead any minute. And thank God for him still being around, because, man, we still need him.
And he's not like a one hit, like, oh, he did Star Wars and that's it. Like, he has so many iconic
Jurassic
themes.
Park.
And I think he did E.T., the first couple Harry Potters.
Yep.
He did that movie Lincoln and got some Grammys for it. Like, it's, yeah.
He's got to have, like, a bookshelf full of Grammys at home or something, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. Like a whole throne room of
yeah.
them.
All right, what's yours, Brian?
So, you wouldn't guess this, but
oh wow,
I picked Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Man, really keeping it going.
So the music, obviously they carried themes over. That's what Star Wars does and all that. But the way it used them in that movie, you talked about like all the different themes like they have for the characters. Rey's theme is perfect for that for her. I just and the way they tie in the old themes and like reuse them and make them fit, like it just, I don't know. I feel like the Star Wars is just embedded in everyone's hearts and musically. Like everyone knows that theme. It's probably the most famous movie theme, and for them to just, the movie itself might have been divisive, but no one's ever questioned the music of the prequels, the original trilogy, the side movies, or even the sequels. Like you have to like it.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I there were a lot of criticisms for The Last Jedi, and the soundtrack was never one of them.
Yeah, that's the only thing that stays consistent.
Okay. So, we're going to keep moving on here.
How about you go first for a topic, Brian?
Sure, yeah. So, the next one is the best adaptation. which we all did fiction, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
this
did.
isn't like like a real, because I thought of a couple like real life ones like Argo and all that. And I was like, nah, I don't make a different category. So this is the best adaptation of a fictional work into a film, and I have to go with Star Wars: The Force Awakens for adapting A New Hope.
Wow.
Fuck you.
I'm joking. My number one is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which I'm biased. I love that graphic novel series, and I love the movie. But when you think about it, they took 6 graphic novels, shoved it into like an hour and a half movie, and it feels good. It's not like, oh, they rushed through it, or oh, it doesn't make sense. Like, Edgar Wright made that work.
I literally had to Google to make sure it came out this decade. When you said that, 2010, you were right.
It feels
Still in there.
Feels like
I was like,
2007 movie.
Yeah, I was like, I definitely saw that in high school, so I don't know.
But yeah, I had to go with that.
That's fair. So for mine, I did a slightly more recent one. Came out in 2016, and I showed it to a few people, including Devante this year. A Silent Voice. It's an anime movie adapting a Japanese manga, specifically Koi no Kotachi, I think it would be pronounced. Sorry, once again, might be butchering that. Absolutely beautiful movie about a boy befriending a deaf girl in high school after bullying her in grammar school and sort of trying to make amends with her. And their relationships with depression and with each other and sort of trying to move beyond their own feelings of self-loathing. Love the movie. Beautiful soundtrack, beautiful imagery. Just cannot recommend the movie enough. Really, really great adaptation of the manga as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love that movie. And, like, when we watched it in my apartment, and, like, half of us are trying not to cry during the whole thing. It's like, that's how you know it's a good movie.
There's, like, multiple points where they hit you with, like, the emotions, and you're like, please don't, not now.
Like, come on,
not in front of my friends.
I don't want to keep talking about Endgame on this episode, but I don't like when they make you cry in a movie and then don't get to cover up the sounds of your crying with lots of music.
Oh, when it goes, like, silent?
Yeah. Like, when Tony Stark died, like, it's just like, there's no sound. Like, I don't want people to hear me crying. Like, put some sad music in there. Like,
that's all right. That's how it was for us in Grave of the Fireflies, so I know that feeling.
Yeah, Grave of the Fireflies. Well, I feel like you sign a pact going into that movie. Like, yeah, cool. Yeah, we can cry together. Like,
yeah, right?
So, I feel like I have to talk about, well, do you have another one for best adaptation? Like
so, my number one is actually going to be Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That's the Harry Potter knockoff.
Yeah.
So, J.K. Rowling actually only wrote one. It was a really short book. It was a children's book for Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
And this is written by Newt Scamander, who is the main character in the movies. But it's just literally about beasts that he wrote about. So it's just like, oh, this one is like, say for instance, in our case, it'd be like, oh, this one's a dragon. This is what dragons do. So that's the only thing that's in the book. There's no story or anything with it. And she created, or will be creating, a whole trilogy. So we have the first 2 movies out based off a book that just tells you about the beast.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I mean, the fact that they included like the whole story out of that, and I hear they're actually pretty good. Like,
oh yeah, I like these movies better than the original Harry Potter movies.
Really?
Yes, yeah. Fantastic Beast is probably I personally think they're better than Harry Potter.
I mean, Harry Potter did take a serious dip near the end there. The 5th one's a horrendous piece of trash. All right, are we ready for the next category here?
Best animated?
Best animated.
All right, so the question is, do all 3 of us have the same choice?
Is it Spider-Verse?
Yeah, it's Spider-Verse.
No.
I think all of us chose Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and it's not a surprise. My second choice was Your Name.
Yep, me too. Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, Pat, what was your number 3? Do you have a number 3?
Silent Voice.
Okay, number 3 is Zootopia for me, so at least we're different there. But, I mean, even if Into the Spider-Verse was just an okay movie, the animation style alone earns it number 1.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. It's so soundtrack is amazing. The just sheer imagery, the concept is fantastic, and then they knock it out of the park. There's only a few times where I was like, that didn't fully land for me.
Yeah.
The messaging of it, how it's delivered, why Kingpin is grotesquely shaped. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I love how over the top it is. It's not afraid to be.
Yep.
And so that was an easy one.
Yeah. Agreement.
Nice. And that moves us on to Best Actor then, I believe.
Yeah, we got Best Actor here. Devontae, who did you pick?
You would never guess. Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, man.
Dude, he's not in television. So I chose him mainly because I think this is probably one of the more consistent actors that I remember because of Iron Man, to be honest. And I feel like he perfected that role. Like, if I had to think of somebody playing Tony Stark, it would probably be Robert Downey Jr.
Not only perfected it over the course of 11 years.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He aged with that movie. Like, and the character changed with him and the way he delivered it, and it was always perfect. There was never like, oh man, he was kind of off in that one. Or that didn't. Every single time he shows up in the MCU, it's just like, yeah, like, you got it.
Right? It's like, I never had that issue. It was like, is he playing Tony Stark well enough in this movie? Like,
probably helps that he's practically playing himself.
Yeah, basically. Like,
himself, but he's a genius. That's pretty much it.
Did you see Sherlock Holmes? Because it's basically like, Iron Man 200 years earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad he's doing Doolittle in next decade, because I feel like that would leave a tarnish on his decade.
Yeah,
that movie does not look good.
It does not look good.
Why is he talking like that?
I don't know. So my personal best actor was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Shit.
For Wolf of Wall Street specifically, but I thought he was great in a lot of things, including Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Knocks it out of the park every time. I think when you think of people who really like managed to break the original stigma they established as an actor, where he was sort of like the teen heartthrob, and instead now he's this like insanely well-rounded actor who just knocks it out of the park with every type of role, whether it be like tough guy or like maniac or anything. Eccentric drug addict like he is in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, he just owns it. It's so funny because he's so iconic, and you're like, oh yeah, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. But he gets so absorbed in the role, you forget that it's him. Like, I feel like some of the times when you're looking at the bigger actors, especially in their like roles that aren't amazing, you're like, all right, yeah, that's Tom Hanks. Like, that's Tom Hanks being Tom Hanks. That's fine. Yeah. It's not bad, but I know it's him. And I'm kind of getting taken out of it by how big of a character he is himself.
Yeah.
But every time Leonardo DiCaprio, you're just like,
he gets into the role. He gets into the role, and from what I can read, he doesn't like do any like, this is me for the next month. I'm this person.
He doesn't Jared Leto like send decapitated pig heads to his coworkers.
No, it was use condoms.
Oh god,
oh, that's even worse.
That's just sexual harassment, Jared. That's not acting.
Yeah, that's not. That it has nothing to do with the Joker. Since when did the Joker let me send used condoms to Batman?
Oh my god.
I sent used condoms to the mayor of Gotham.
Threw used condoms in the city's water plant. It's poison. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen all the movies that Leonardo DiCaprio has been in, but like Inception, Django Unchained, he was great in. Even Great Gatsby, which isn't like an amazing film, he's still great in it. Wolf of Wall Street, like you said, he got his Oscar finally for The Revenant, and then to end it with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, what a decade. So since you had him for your number one, I'm going to talk about my number two, Robert Downey Jr.
God damn.
I feel like we could just move on to Best Actress at that point, because...
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I can go first.
Yeah.
So mine is actually like a less known actress, but Toni Collette. She is the mom in Hereditary, and she's also in the movie Knives Out as another mom. So I chose her mainly because in Hereditary, she starts off as like, a normal mom, but her children are basically getting possessed, and it kind of shows on her mental illness that, basically comes from the possession. And I think she plays it pretty well because she starts off, like I said, pretty normally, and you see her just break throughout the whole like hour and a half of the movie.
In some weird way, it's always not enjoyable, but you enjoy seeing a character just completely break throughout a movie.
Yeah. I think actors are often at their best when they're sort of deconstructing themselves throughout the movie.
Right, yeah.
And you sort of see their fall, their decline in mental aptitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess I can go next.
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to butcher her name once again, but I'm going to say Lupita Nyong'o for Us.
Yeah.
I feel like she hits all the layers of that character great. Now, I know what some of our audience might be thinking. Why not for 12 Years a Slave, where she won tons of awards? It's because I did not see that movie.
Yeah.
Did not. Probably should have. Heard it was a really important movie. Didn't see it. But thought she was brilliant in Us, so kind of making up for it, I guess.
You know, her real shining role of the decade was definitely Maz Kanata, you know?
Well...
Who are you?
I appreciate her when she doesn't have butthole eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So leading up after that, I would say the best actress of the decade would be Jennifer Lawrence. I haven't seen all the movies that she was in, but I just feel like throughout the decade she completely owned, I feel like, both sides of Hollywood. She was on like the popcorn, like fun movies kind of side. Like she started off with X-Men and then went into Hunger Games, which granted, you know, those movies aren't amazing, but she was a huge star with those. And then at the same time was doing stuff like Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle and winning Oscars and giving like really artistic performances. So I feel like to balance those two is pretty cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can say that she does really well. I'm not a personal fan of her, but I can understand why you put her as a number one.
Same.
What's next?
Yeah.
I was just enjoying the silence there.
I was really. We get some nice chair creaking sounds in there,
Hey.
as we all just sort of silently nod our heads and do nothing for our audience.
We're inching closer and closer to that ASMR episode. It's gonna come out and it's gonna break. It's gonna break through, and that's gonna be our big hit.
Absolutely, and then I can just cut you all out, and we'll know who the real star of the ASMR series will be.
We'll know it's time to go when we come to Pat's house, and he's got those the microphone shaped like ears. And he's just whispering in one side and then the next.
Licking them. Oh, please don't cut that out. Cut out that he just made that tongue sound.
That's not needed.
It's not a tongue sound. It's the tail sound from Avatar.
That's even worse.
All right. Best director of the decade.
For me, it was Jordan Peele.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say Martin Scorsese, but I just something about both of the major Jordan Peele movies I've seen. He's had his sort of big breakout within the last decade after his success with Key and Peele, and then Get Out and Us, both being absolutely brilliant films. I cannot wait to see where his career goes from here. You know, he's been around in the comedy scene for a long time. The earliest thing I've seen him in was Weird Al's Amish White and Nerdy. White and Nerdy, that's what it was.
Yeah.
He's in the music video for White and Nerdy.
Wow.
He and Keegan-Michael Key are in that.
Wow, okay.
So it's nice to see him achieve his success, and just you're watching a Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like something has to be said about, like, you know, like you said, Martin Scorsese and all that. Martin Scorsese had a good decade. No one's surprised. Yeah, that makes sense. He's a giant in this field. If you told me, you know, like while Key and Peele was coming out, that like, yeah, he was going to be one of the best horror thriller directors of the decade. It's like,
no, you're
what?
lying. Yeah, there's
what?
no way.
I remember when that first came out. Like, is that the same guy? Like, he's the guy who did Get Out, the guy who I watched at East vs. West Bowl talk about how his name is Donkey Teeth. Like,
Donkey Teeth.
I could definitely agree to that though, and shout out to his next movie that's coming out next year. I think it's called Antebellum. I think
I'll see it.
Yeah, it looks another creepy movie that's coming out.
I'm not good with horror movies, but I'm gonna keep watching his horror movies.
It looks so good. But I guess I'll go to mine since I'm talking. My best director is a horror thriller director. Surprise. Ari Aster. So this is the guy who did Hereditary and Midsommar. So yeah, I'm choosing him, and I think he perfects how to make you feel uncomfortable throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite. Like I said, I'm not a big horror guy, but I think my favorite parts of horror are when they are able to make me feel just genuine discomfort. Not necessarily fear for me, because I'm not a big fan of being afraid. I know some people are, but discomfort. Anyone that can manage to do that deserves praise.
I also chose him because I think he perfected the background like situation in movies. So like, there's always something in the background of a scene that you can find. Like, I watched Hereditary 3 times, and I still find something I haven't seen in the background once.
That's always really cool.
Like in one of the scenes, when they're inside of a house, is a quick panel, but there's like a naked guy, like a naked old guy, just in the middle of a random doorway, and you don't notice him unless you see it like 3 times.
What the?
Like, and it happens so quick because your focus is like something's happening, so you're focusing on the main kid who's like freaking out, and he walks past the doorway, and it's just a naked guy smiling, like a really creepy smile in the middle of a doorway for like a frame.
Wait, like, he's naked and smiling creepily?
He's naked and smiling, like the big old smile, like, you know, like, oh, that's really uncomfortable. But like, I didn't notice it the first 2 times I watched it. I only noticed it when we watched it at a cabin trip. when we all watched it after everyone went to sleep. I was like,
when I was like down on the first floor just making commentary because I couldn't bring myself to watch the movie.
Yeah, that's why I was like, hold the phone, pause it, and rewind. Like, I had to make sure it was actually a thing.
Ugh, no.
Yeah. Huh.
So I hinted at it earlier, but for my director of the decade, I got to go with Taika Waititi. Breaking out onto the scene with Thor Ragnarok, and just people think of the MCU and they're like, oh yeah, there's some funny ones in there and all that, and then he just brings along this new style of comedy that's just like unlike anything I've seen before. It's just so whimsical and out there and like from left field, but it's still like, I don't know. And then, did
you see What We Do in the Shadows?
No, I really want to.
Oh,
is
man,
that
you really need
is that a
to.
movie he did?
That's okay. A horror comedy film. It's a mockumentary. It's really not horror. It's about vampires and sort of them hanging out in the New Zealand like nightlife, and, like going to the clubs and stuff. It's like, really good.
That's exactly how he is. Where it's just like, this makes no sense. Like, when they're like Thor Ragnarok, Thor movies have typically been a little bit more serious, and then this third one, no, it's gonna be a joke. The one about the end of the like Asgard, no, that's gonna be the funny one, like, or Jojo Rabbit, like it's a comedy about Hitler, like, oh yeah, he's a kid's best imaginary friend. It's like, what are you doing? But it works.
Yeah.
I have to give a special shout out to this guy. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong. But Denis Villeneuve, he had an amazing decade of movies that I have not seen, but I heard so much about. And I feel this, like, as I was looking through and like researching this, I was like, I have to watch these movies that this guy did. Sicario and Arrival and Blade Runner 2049 and all that. Like, it's just like they all like won a bunch of awards and everything. I'm just like, that artistically, I feel like this guy just won the decade. But
nice.
I guess you can argue for Christopher Nolan too.
Christopher Nolan just always does good work. So
yeah. Well, Dark Knight Rises came out this decade, so it wasn't always.
Well, yeah. I mean, that movie's not bad. It's just the weakest of that trilogy
compared to like Interstellar and Dunkirk and all that. Like,
yeah, you're right. So here we are.
The time has come.
Best movie of the decade, according to us three, the most most important members of the Pause Button podcast.
All of these are facts.
We will change the course of human cinematic history with our answers here.
Who wants to go?
I can go first,
all right.
I guess. I am going to do Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, wow.
I have never seen a movie with that much care. Well, I shouldn't say never, but I think more than any other movie of the decade has intense amounts of character
and nudity,
and well, that too. But it is so over the top and realistic while being over the top and ridiculous while feeling so realistic, because it is. This is the kind of stuff that actually happened.
Yeah,
they did hire midgets and then throw them around their office and then do tons of cocaine in the office and just throw away $1,000 watches worth thousands of dollars for like the hell of it. And it's such an incredible movie with incredible performances, an incredible soundtrack, and incredible direction, and incredibly memeable. And I will never get over Matthew McConaughey beating his chest while talking about masturbating.
Yeah.
I forgot that's what he was talking about in that scene. Yeah, I feel like every time I think of that movie, I can't not think of the scene where they get in the car, and even though they're high and like Quaaludes, they drive home perfectly fine. Oh wait, it wasn't
Yeah,
fine.
they cut back. It's so good. Oh man, the performances in that are so good.
Devontae,
All right,
can I take a guess?
go for it.
Is it Hereditary or Midsommar?
So, okay, hear me out. I was gonna choose Hereditary, but I have to be pretty biased, and I'm gonna go with Halloween because that came out.
Oh,
last year.
nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would have been Hereditary, but I'm being biased because I love Halloween.
Yeah, I know you're a big Michael Myers fan.
And I had to choose this because Halloween kind of went to shit when they killed off Laurie, and they kind of reconned everything. It was like, JK, those movies are shit. So
Here we go.
We're gonna
They
take them
back.
back and create an actual ending. Well, no, it's not ending. Spoilers.
Yeah. They're like, here, we totally wrapped up the series, but wait.
Yeah, but yeah.
In a world of Ghostbusters and what was it, The Mummy and everything, you can really fail trying to revive your series, and I feel like
Except now we're getting a new Ghostbusters
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might
that's right.
that might
Yeah.
totally fix that.
But I have not seen this movie, but the way all my friends who liked horror movies talked about it was just like, yeah, they just jumped back in and they nailed it.
Yeah, it was like I felt like it was just as good as the old ones. Like they didn't drop a beat about how I guess relentless Michael Myers is, and how he just doesn't care for adults. Because I have to say adults because he doesn't kill children. He had in the movie he has a chance to like kill a crying baby, and he just looks at it and just walks away.
Yeah.
So it shows like a little bit of humanity to him, but you still like he's crazy as shit when he's just going around killing all these random people.
That's more interesting. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh yeah, he's just a complete
Agreed.
monster. It's like, wait, what's
Right.
going on here? Like,
Right, and then they bring back the doctor who's, not the original doctor, but his predecessor, and it's pretty cool. So they link everything together.
Nice. All right. What's Brian's?
Okay. So my one complaint with this movie is that it ruins cinema forever. By reaching a perfection humankind will never reach again. It brings the meat, it brings the potatoes, and it brings the broccoli and the cheese. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Avengers Endgame. Yeah.
Wow. You literally already said you preferred Jojo Rabbit this year.
Yeah, I know that. Hold on. I thought about this. So, Jojo Rabbit is a perfect, everything about the movie I loved this year. But throughout the decade, no other movie summed
Oh
up
my
this decade
God.
so well. Endgame is the capstone to a decade's worth of storytelling. Come on. Jojo Rabbit's a self-contained story. Endgame is a story that's been being told for 11 years. Like, I thought that was kind of smart.
Easy. You're so easy to figure out, Brian.
I can think my way through some loopholes of logic. Like, I thought that was a good excuse for picking two different ones like that.
Sure, bud.
I was proud of that. When you're like getting old enough as a kid and you like make some art and then your parents like, oh yeah, that's great, buddy. And you're like, oh, hold on, they're patronizing me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm old enough to know this now. That's how I feel. Like, I was proud of it.
If I hadn't seen your bedroom before, I would assume it's just covered in posters of Avengers Endgame stuff, and you have like an Avengers Endgame racing bed. You like get tucked
It's the
into every
spider
night.
car.
Like, yeah, in all seriousness, I could see that. It's like Coulson's car is where you get tucked into.
No, it's gonna be Ant-Man's van.
Oh, absolutely.
Bedtime. I spent 18 hours this year watching that movie. Like, come on. Like, I can't not pick it.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Is anybody surprised, even though I picked a different movie for the best of the year?
I was surprised because I was certain it was going to be until you chose Jojo Rabbit earlier. I feel like I've been lied to. You've lied to us. You've lied to your audience. You've let us all down like Joey and Tom did today.
All right. Tom, as you edit this, please be kind. So I think we can wrap up the episode at that point. So we hope you enjoyed the Pauscars. This episode is coming out on Christmas, so Merry Christmas. And if you're listening the day after, Happy Boxing Day, the best day of the year. We have an amazing episode coming up next. You're really going to want to listen to
Did you say this coming out on Christmas?
Yeah.
It comes out in 3 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
are we sure it's going to come out on Christmas?
Shout out to Tom.
Yeah, well, unless his other nephew has a birthday party that day, then I don't know. So we got an amazing episode coming up next. You're really going to want to watch that one. Follow us on Twitter and the Instagram, and it's in the description and all that. And tell all your friends about us, because the Pauscars are done and we have no idea what we're doing next. So, gotta do something. So we'll see you guys in the next decade. But Tom, what's the next topic gonna be? What's that amazing topic?
Our next topic is going to be how A Christmas Story is a great film and you're completely fucking wrong. So I hope to change your minds then.
Alrighty. But until then.
Now we're gonna hit pause.